everyone. First of all, want to thank you for fighting a chilly weather and coming to sit here with me. Thank you. Appreciate that. I feel you. Awesome. I know that yesterday was a lot of after parties, so I believe by now everyone's kind of ready for day two and maybe for a good lunch right after. Am I right? Yes, awesome. Okay, so for the next 45 minutes together, you're gonna spend them with me. I'll try to do my best to make sure you're not bored. We're gonna do it in different ways. So for some of you who maybe never met me, I'm Ukrainian Canadian. So I was born and raised in Ukraine, and then at 19 I moved to Canada, and my entire business journey was in Canada and US. So that's why my experience today will be really from North American's viewpoint, okay? Awesome. So in terms of me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll show you that later on. And then in terms of today, we'll be basically spending 45 minutes chatting. Why I'm saying chatting? Because I don't like talk all the time. So I would talk with you, okay? I'm looking forward to discuss a few topics. We'll talk about three different pieces. We'll talk about product, people, and innovation. And the reason for that, because all of those elements cannot live without each other, and all of those elements dependent on each other. And I will challenge you, because who heard the famous question or the famous statement, AI will take our jobs? Who's scared by that? A little bit? Okay. Who's super excited about AI? Okay, good. We have a bit of a half-half. So today I'll challenge you on that topic, and I also will try to show you how to look at it from a different viewpoints, depending on your role in the organization. Okay, good. Ready? The very first part that we'll talk about people. Why people? Who thinks that people is the most important part in the business? And how do we deal with people when we have AI? So it's a very, very difficult question to answer. And when you look at it, it comes to a lot of elements now. So the few words that I brought up to you on the screen, relevant a lot to new businesses right now. Who's the business owner? Startup founders? Okay, investors? Students? Software teams? Like anybody works? Okay, awesome, perfect, got it. Okay, cool. One of my team members here, she's also a front-end developer, and I think what's very important for me as a founder, it's always to make sure that I communicate with my team, why am I doing specific decision? And the first question that I'll be asking you today, it's a $130,000 question. And I'll cover it from different elements. So recently, I've been hiring for a lot of roles in our company. And some roles we hire in Ukraine, some roles we have to hire in North America. For example, when it comes to sales, because English is very important and our market is in America. And so ultimately, every person I met in the last 2 months who showed up to the interview with me, I've asked them a question, and I asked them, what's your expected salary? And funny enough, literally 85% said 130K. And I was like, did I miss something in this world? Because when I was in the workplace just a few years ago, the numbers were way lower. But then I also asked myself, what is my expectation from that person for 130K? It's not like it's $3,000, right? And it's not that easy to make that when you're a small business. We're a lot of small businesses right now trying to catch up from the ground. So let's do the first exercise. I want you to imagine that you started your business, okay? And you somehow found this one investor who said, I will invest in you. I'll give you 130,000. That's all you have. And you have to survive for a year, okay? Where would you invest those $130,000? Would you hire a person to sell? Would you hire a person to develop? Would you put it in the AI tools and try to automate it? Would you hire an agency and then add AI tools to do it? And why would you do any of those ways? And so the reason why I'm asking you that, because building the business, it's a lot of decisions that you have to make every single day. And when you look at it from the perspective of one individual, sometimes it doesn't make sense. But when you look from perspective of entire company, you have to basically take different angles in that. So as you had time to think about my question, who would spend $130,000 on hiring people in the first year? Just people. Yes, you can. Okay. So you'll spend it on your salary. Got it. Who would spend it fully on tools and try to handle the business yourself? Okay. For those of you who didn't raise their hand, what would you do? Split. Split is a good, interesting way. So a lot of you are developers here, so you should know more than I do that there is definitely ways to create a beautiful workflows. Anyone heard about N8N? Awesome. N8N is one of the tools that allow to automate a lot of elements in your workflow, and essentially you can get different tools that never speak to each other, but then use tool like N8N to automate that. And so we're going to go back to the N8N question, but it's extremely, extremely important to remember that there is always have to be a mix of right decisions, and you also need to choose the right decisions for each stage, right? So for those who are founders or ever think to be founders, one of the best things that I've learned from investors in my journey that a founder have to learn how to sell the product. You cannot hire someone before you figured it out. If anybody knows the story of PayPal, they basically did that mistake. Before they figured it out how to sell, they hired a person. Not only they hired the person, they also hired a wrong person, the person who had experience at a different stage. So that's why it's very, very important. Okay? So then let's continue on our 130 question. What if you're not a new business? Imagine you already have a team, let's say 20 people, right? But then again, you have this challenge because again, you have to hire, let's say 2 people, right? And you have to choose who those people are. So you have to debate, would I hire a marketing person? Would I hire a salesperson? Would I hire 2 salespeople? But what do I do with marketing? And you're always going to be going in those rounds. So that's why it's very important to understand the tools available to you, because the reality it is in North America, it's pretty much almost impossible to lift the business off the ground with 130K salaries. And so you have to be really creative about it. Okay. Good with 130K? I wish you all to have that investment if you ever start the business at the minimum. Let's do the next topic, and seems like I did lost. Oh no, I do have it. Perfect. Lovely. So now another thing that I would love to chat, how business owners look on hiring someone and what are the expectations. So whenever you invest in anything, you need to understand what return you want back. I'll give you an example. So in my specific use case, when I'm hiring a person, I basically expect 5x return. What that means, if I hire a salesperson, I literally tell them, you have to make it 5 times your salary in a year to make sure that we continue working together. Because I need to pay other team members who are not directly selling, right? And so when I come to my development team in the morning, even if they ask me a really cool, they give me a really cool idea and they basically saying, hey, let's do this. I always go back to, would this help me tomorrow to wake up and be able to pay my team? If not, it can wait. So basically the founder role or the business owner role to make sure that everyone's paid and there is money to run business. And so sometimes you might be surprised that somebody's not taking your idea. It's not personal. It might be purely because it's the wrong timing, okay? So at the same time, think of it, what exactly are you bringing to the business? And you'll be surprised, 5x return is possible not only for salespeople. So what means 5x return for a software developer? Who can help me? Create a product that can return back 5x times. Yes, what else? Automations, what do you mean by that? We automate why? To be faster, to be better, to deliver, get the same value faster, right? So it's very important. Not only that, you can also save with what you find. And I'll give you an example. So with our team at Bonsai, and I'll talk about the company a bit later, we have research and development days. So basically, team does every Friday right now, they go in and they do research on a specific topic. And my challenge to them is, do not tell me how to do what you used to do with the different tool. Tell me, how can you do completely differently something that you've been doing for years? Okay? And at first it sounds, what do you mean by that, right? I'll give you an example what we found through one of the most recent R&D days. So in order to sell to enterprise companies, like large brands, right, Fortune 500 companies, most of them need a specific level of security. In Europe, mainly it's ISO 27001, and in North America, it usually starts with SOC 2. Heard about that? I assume so, great. So ultimately, it takes long time to get that certification, right? Cost a lot of money. And it's stopping you from making money. And normally, teams spend about 6 months just to get one certification. And they spend minimum $50,000 on certification itself, auditing, hiring team members, and basically not developing their main product. So something that my team found, they found brilliant company that now using AI and people together to speed up the process. And we are right now in the process of getting 4 certifications, including the one that I named, as well as HIPAA and GDPR. Each of them takes only 14 days, and it's 6 times cheaper than I would pay for one separately. And that's because of the way the innovation works now. So that helps me to accelerate and make more money as a company, and then helps eventually to hire more people who are going to continue working that way. So see the difference? You not only can make money, you can also save money with innovation that can help other team members to make money faster, okay? Good. So I'll challenge you. I want all of you today, when you're going to go back, to think is, how are you making that 5x return? And 5x is my number, okay? If you can do 10x, amazing, even better. So I want to challenge you to think of how are you bringing the 5x value. Good? That's on people. Product. So product is tricky and product is super exciting at the same time. Many of you, since you're like a lot of you develop the product or work with the product directly, probably have a lot of questions every single day. So product changed a lot with AI. And what really changed? So not only the way how investors thinks about investing in the product, not only how you should think of MVP, but also the entire strategy and automation, where exactly do you apply it, not to say that it's kind of overwhelming because all of the new tools around you, right? Whoever worked on building MVP? Amazing, okay. So what is MVP? Minimum viable product. For who? For customers. Very good answer. You know why? Because tons of startups making massive mistake. They're building MVP for investors. Why does MVP for investors not working anymore? Doesn't work, just doesn't work, exactly. Not returning money. What else? Exactly. Investors are not the people on who you check if your MVP is working. If you have a great idea, you don't need to build MVP to be able to sell it. You can sell it without it. But if you don't have MVP built for clients, you cannot make revenue. And so this actually has to be one of my mistakes that I did in the beginning of my company, because I was working with co-founders that had been in the previous startups, and basically everyone wanted to fundraise, and of course we were like trying to make a wow effect for investors. But then later, when we got to customers, I realized that we're missing critical parts. And a good example of critical part was like, we didn't have a login, we didn't have a registration page, right? So yes, I had people absolutely loved the concept of the product, but they couldn't even trial it. And I realized that we did total mistake, right? And so that's why I wanted to bring up a few things in here. Not only I want you to think of MVP as always think for your customer, because if you think of too many people at the same time, you spread yourself too thin. But also, another thing that shifted a lot on the market, and so I really, really well remember when I used to come to investors and everybody would be like, concentrate on one feature, do one feature really good, and then basically you're gonna be good. Don't tackle too many things at the same time. Heard about that? Amazing. That was true. They were very right for a very long time. You know what changed? Really well remember how I was pitching about 2.5 years ago to one of the plug-and-play investors. Very smart investor. And he sat down with me and he's like, Olia, I have to ask you a really hard question that I don't have an answer to. He's like, how do you think of AI basically being alive? Because he said to me, and I love that, he's like, there is this one investor that is so famous, he's so good, he knows how to pick the best startups. And with the first release of OpenAI, he lost overnight 20% of his portfolio. And since that day, he's like, I don't even know who to follow anymore and how to invest in AI, because the best investors in the world pretty much didn't figure it out in the first wave, right? So my answer to him was, you know, exactly what people used to say not to do, now you actually need to do. And so when that OpenAI release happened, I really well remember how a lot of my friends went out of business, and that was true. Like OpenAI literally just killed all one-feature startups, right? I call them one-feature startups. What happened that night, though, my company got stronger overnight. So something that we needed to build, and it would take us 8 months minimum, OpenAI did. And we just integrated with them. So they made my company stronger while they killed other companies. The reason was because I never could build the product I needed based on one feature only, because the whole value in building the holistic experience. And yes, it was very hard in the beginning to build it, but it created for us massive value. And so what I really need you to think, you need to think not about wow effect. You have to constantly have a wow effect in your company, and it will evolve because AI evolves, your competitors evolve. But how to really do that? Build everything from scratch yourself? What do you think? Is it a good idea to reinvent the wheel each time? What would you do differently? Operate? Cooperate. Love that. Partner, cooperate, integrate. And interesting enough, because AI moves so quickly, you physically will not be able to create everything from scratch. You absolutely have to cooperate. You have to work with different people. And you have to look at your competitors and think, you know, it's like, can they actually be our partners? At least for some time. And that's what we had to do. And at some point, you know, as a founder, I had to face this issue. I'm like, that's really what I would love to develop as a company, but realistically speaking, makes no sense. By the time I'm developing it, I'm going to be out of business. So we decided that our key wow effect feature. It's something that did not exist, and we're still working on it. But for the features that already exist, we just chose the right partners, and those partners change. Just to give you a little bit more context, so Bonsai AI, my company, what we do, we help companies to create employer or client training, but basically training that has videos in every single module. So think training how to be a front-end developer, right? And then you're just gonna put that, you're gonna put who is it for, maybe upload a document, and in 15 minutes you have 10 modules, each has a video fully generated for you, and then text and quizzes. And so the video element is extremely unique in our field. So I have competitors who do text, I have competitors who do like a full learning management system, but not the video, and that's one of our key features. So we still continue building wow effect on that while we choose the right partners around. Okay, so law number 2, when you think of the product, so the first one feature doesn't work anymore. Law number 2, integrate if you want to survive, pretty much. Okay? Questions on that? So far, so good. Ready for innovation? Awesome. Innovation. How do you think of innovation? Is it hard to innovate right now? As usual. Why as usual? It's always hard. Why AI does not necessarily make it harder to easier to innovate? Absolutely. So nothing really changed. AI is just the tool. So you had tools before. This tool is just dramatically different. But other than just being a tool, it has no value until you have right people, right ideas, and right execution. So you shouldn't be fearing of AI. It's just another tool that we need to learn. And I absolutely love when people like scared of AI. I love the concept of cars and horses. When we used to drive horses, right, it was difficult to do business, we couldn't go far, it was cold in the winter, and we wanted to go further, do more, go faster. The cars came out. It's not like we stopped loving the horses, we love them, we just use them a bit differently, right? And we started evolving. So AI is pretty much exact same next step of the evolution. And the reality is it's here. It's not going back. So I'm not going to, those of you who are fearing it, I'm not going to tell you it's going to go away. I'll highly recommend you, even if you're scared, go and do it. That's what we do every single day. We want to talk through a few things. With innovation right now, the biggest blockers to deliver something, it's safety. It's basically IP. Investors really care, how do you protect your intellectual property? How do you deal with safety? So those was like massive questions. And whenever you do decide who do you integrate with, you need to choose what are your values. So what I mean by that, is the product value higher, more important for you than the safety? Or is the safety more important for you than the quality that you deliver? Because you're not going to be able to get everything on exact same level. And depending who you want to sell to, you need to make those critical decisions. I'll give you an example. We decided, as much as I'm personally crazy about quality of the product, I had to make a key decision that safety is first. Because in the business that we are, we deal with a lot of sensitive information, and that's really can kill us overnight. So anytime we do anything, we say safety first, even if we have to sometimes compromise on the quality for a little bit. Okay? So you always need to think of those critical questions. And right now, as much as the AI going fast, deep fakes are going fast, all kinds of breaches going fast, so you really need to be aware of that. What else? So in terms of innovation, you heard from me a few times, wow effect, okay? I really, really want you to remember that and ask yourself all the time, what is your wow effect? And I was at the pitch competition in in Paris for Viva Tech, and one of the judges asked this question to one of the startups. And I was like, it's a brilliant question, because when you wake up, you always need to make sure, are you still making that wow effect? And what is your wow effect? And the reason why I said that, I'll show you a few parts of what we do, but more in the high level. One of the first wow effects, like I really well remember a year ago going to conferences, and when people were seeing our demo and basically how we create videos live, the first question they came out right after, people were standing next to me and they were like, where's this video coming from? Who I was like, but the software just did it. That's exactly what we do. That's like our product. And people would listen to me, but until they would see it, they wouldn't believe it. They were shocked. And that wow effect was there for a very long time. Shortly after, this year, I was just at the different conference in Montreal. It's no longer a wow effect. It's now expected. So because a lot of people started using AI, a lot of people getting really good at it, and they not necessarily expected because they've seen exactly what we do, but they expected because they know that AI can do magic. And because of that, when people hear it, I was like, yeah, normal thing. And so you constantly keep thinking, what is your wow effect? Do you know what's the wow effect in your product? Who knows? Good. 2 people. That's like 2%. So I'll challenge you. So today, I want you to think of how are you bringing 5x value to your companies in your role? And second, what is the wow effect in your product? And what will be the wow effect in 5 years? Okay? Cool. So one of the things that we use in our product, we use avatars. Who seen AI-generated avatars? Who thinks that it's really good? Okay. So a lot of you still probably associated with Avatar movie. I was against avatars 4 years ago. I was a trainer on platforms like Udemy and other big platforms, and it was actually prohibited there because the quality was really, really bad. Until I've seen something. And so right now, I'm going to show you video. You're going to see 4 of me. One of them is an avatar. I'll let you guess afterwards, okay? So pay attention. You're going to see 4 different alias on the screen. One is an avatar.
Listen up, we're not here to make another boring ad. We're here to show you how Bonsai AI changes the game. Single course, there's going to be a lecturing piece. There is definitely going to be practice and most likely more than one. Today, we'll apply it tomorrow and exponentially grow in a year from now. Time you get distracted, it could take up to 38 minutes to get back on track. Would you ever imagine that?
So which one? Who thinks that number 1 with the blue top is my avatar? Okay, about 10% roughly. Who thinks that number 2 is my avatar? Okay, about 25%. Okay, number 3, 10% again. And number 4, 10% again. The right answer, number 1. I'm glad I surprised you. So that said, these videos were recorded about 1.5 years ago. All of them created from my actual training sessions that I used to deliver. Not only avatars are becoming massive, they're entertainment, let's say, they're becoming massive need. And the reason for that is because as AI grow really fast, we also need training in the organization, training for clients really fast. And it's pretty much impossible if you're able to create training super fast now to deliver it super fast. And avatars are used right now not only for training, they're used for sales, they're used for agents. You're gonna see a lot of evolution. Funny enough, I arrived yesterday night and I went into the business stage before this one, and there was another speaker also talking about avatars, but specifically for like influencers, TikTok and stuff. And it was specifically about how hyper realistic it is right now. And the avatars, it took them long because the data had to be like trained, like we needed a lot of data. but the acceleration of it got massive. And when I said it's becoming a necessity, it's because of also the ability to translate it rapidly to multiple languages. So I know a lot of right now people around the world who are amazing experts in something, but they're only amazing experts in something in one language. And then at the same time, as we travel around, multicultural needs are so important. Companies also do not want to spend anymore that much money and time on translation. And it's incredible how now you can change that. And I'm not going to even try to convince you. I'll show you. So this is another avatar of mine, and this video was recorded a year and a half ago. It's going to speak in 10 different languages. And what I want you to know, the video avatar was created from my video speaking English. And everything that you're going to hear out of it going to be fully AI generated. Ready?
I can speak English. The US is so big you could fit all of Europe in it and still have room for a road trip. Puedo hablar español. España no solo produce aceite de oliva, prácticamente nada en él, perfecto para esas tapas. 我会说中文。中国的长城这么长，走完它比一场马拉松换飞机。मैं हिंदी बोल सकता हूँ। भारत का खाना इतना मसालेदार है कि एक बार खा लिया तो पानी की बोतल आपके सबसे अच्छे दोस्त बन जाएंगे। Je peux parler français. En France, on ne vit pas seulement d'amour et d'eau fraîche, on a aussi des baguettes fantastiques. أنا أستطيع التحدث باللغة العربية. اللغة العربية مكتوبة من اليمين إلى اليسار، حتى كلماتها تحب المغامرة. Posso parlare italiano. L'Italia non è solo pizza e pasta, è un paese dove anche il caffè ha personalità. Eu posso falar português. No Brasil, falamos português e fazemos carnaval como se fosse uma festa que nunca acaba. Я говорю рідною українською. Слава Україні! Україна – це країна, де навіть пшениця росте з гордістю і любов'ю. I can speak more than 40 languages perfectly. It's time to be true citizens of the world with new AI capabilities. Start today.
I hope I surprised you a little bit more on the language aspect. And funny enough, I never recorded a Ukrainian video. And my avatar speaks exactly like I would speak Ukrainian, which is to me is always the best test of the quality of it. At the end, you probably have seen some gestures that maybe didn't match as you've expected, and it looks still a bit outdated. That was a year and a half ago. So was that innovation doesn't sleep? And I'll show you the video that I did with my newest avatar just last week.
I would like to test if there are the newest capabilities for the AI digital avatars based on the recent developments. Last week, our CTO, together with several Bonsai AI team members, attended the AWS Summit Toronto 2025, an excellent opportunity to stay close to the latest advancements in AI and cloud innovation. Key themes we took away from the summit: generative AI on AWS, practical demonstrations of AI agents moving seamlessly from prototype to production at scale, serverless and infrastructure as code, concrete strategies for accelerating development while ensuring efficiency and reliability. Community and knowledge exchange, engaging with AWS experts and peers, provided fresh perspectives and validated our own technical approaches. Innovation and strategy. The event sparked new ideas for how emerging AWS capabilities can shape our product roadmap. AWS continues to empower AI-focused companies like Bonsai to build, deploy, and scale with confidence. We look forward to applying these insights as we advance our platform.
So as you can see, this one extremely realistic. And to be really honest with you, probably if I lose a memory and somebody would show me that video tomorrow, I would not believe that it's an avatar. I would truly think that it's me. And that said, innovation doesn't sleep. It doesn't sleep in any area. So one of the things that we practice with my team every single month, at least every 3 months, we go and revisit what's new in each industry for each role and seeing how good did those tools got recently. And the reason for that is because 2 years ago, when I was testing tools that do PowerPoint presentation, there were a good idea, but not a good quality. Now it's a great quality. Same thing you can see with avatars. And you can start thinking how you can utilize that. And in every single part of your job, you can find something totally new that had been before. But one of the things that I need you to think about is not, is it possible to do? It's, how do I do this? And this was like from the very first day we were building Bonsai. I came into my first CTO and I said, we need to create this automated video generation. And we were really the first ones in the world who started it. The first thing that he told me, he's like, are you crazy? That doesn't exist. That's like not possible. I'm like, I did not ask if it's possible. I've asked, we need to do this. Now I need you to go and figure it out how, okay? So think of it differently, going back to the question, right idea, right people, and challenging yourself properly. Not is like, is it a limitation? Actually, it is an opportunity. So take advantage of the opportunities. So we're gonna kind of start wrapping it up. Basically, what I want you to remember, AI is absolutely there. AI is the tool to superpower you for whatever you do, and the right combination of people and AI, exactly what's gonna bring you, your company, your team, your product forward. Use that tool and use it as fast as you can, because one of the things that investors were really hard on me from the beginning, they're like, go on the market now, because everybody's growing very fast right now. And the longer you delay getting on the tools, the longer you delay practicing, the longer you delay your success. Right now, really, the companies pull up phenomenal products in just 4 months. So if you're 4 months behind, you're kind of a lifetime behind how it used to be in the past. So to wrap up, there is 2 more slides that I have. Quick questions, but before we go to questions, anyone's looking for a job? Anyone know who's looking for a job? We're hiring. So feel free to share all of these roles. We're open to hire them in Ukraine or Ukrainians elsewhere. And if you do know someone, you can apply and contact directly with our CTO. His LinkedIn is on the screen. Please don't message me. I don't hire development team members, but you can message me for any other reason. Let's go back to last 2 minutes. I would absolutely love to hear if you have any questions and if there is anything else I can answer for you today. Yes.
Yeah, we have hand
Awesome.
raised up. I'm going with the microphone, and the hiring process is ongoing, and we're asking the questions.
Firstly, thanks for your presentation and speech. Yesterday, I was at a startup stage and heard from Dominique Petet an interesting statement. In a case when you want to build a new feature, new product, whatever else, you always must think that you will fail. You need to have a huge capacity to fail. What do you think about it? Do you share this opinion or no? Thanks.
Great question. I will answer yes. I absolutely share that you have to. From my personal experience, I'll tell you that startup in 2 years taught me 10 years of life. And in order to survive, you have to be ready for waking up and that everything crashed that morning. I had so many mornings that I would wake up and I'm like, I'll have a nice day today. And then you have to deal with something. So the capacity, you need the capacity, I wouldn't say to fail, you need the capacity to pivot. And in order for you to pivot, you have to forget about your ego, what people think, what might seem wrong, and you have to make critical decisions for the business. Not only that, you have to care and take responsibility for them. And if you do fail, next day you wake up and it's like, that's okay. I took that responsibility when I took that risk.
Thank you. More questions? Oh my goodness. That's pretty far, but I will find the shortest way to get there. I think this path will bring me to the place where I can pass the microphone. And it's coming. 2 more seconds.
Thank you. Ola, first of all, thank you for the awesome presentation and great challenges, and mostly for the energy It's like better than Red Bull, and so far it's the best presentations I saw here in Arena, IT Arena. But my question is about the life hack or how to say, the thing you do in your company when you challenge your team to overview the niches in different categories to find what changed within those 3 months. So how many people involved in that process? And you mentioned that you like consider like 360 like direction. It's huge. There are some focuses, or how would you, I don't know, focus yourself, your company, and your team? Thank you.
Very, very good question, and happy that you enjoyed the session. Thank you for that. I'll share with you really, truly my life right now. So it's so easy to fall in the traps of people around you, fear, getting overwhelmed. So one of the things that I do personally when I feel that I don't know exactly which direction to move, I go away. What that means, I run in the morning, usually in silence. I go to nature. I sometimes just sit somewhere and I like go through what's right, what's wrong. So that helps me to really step back and make sure I'm not falling into the trap going just one step up. Because if you're doing one step up, you're going to be out of business very soon. But that's in terms of like mentality. You have to make sure that you're away from a general public opinion to be innovative. As for the product itself, so we started our R&D days when, like 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago now. And we're still trying it out. So initially we started with just like basically team would go in and research something about their specific role. Now we switched more to a specific project. So we're working on key functionality right now that we are evolving into in the next 4 months. And they go directly testing that exact area, but from a different angles. Our CTO did a really good job. And basically he would give the same project, but research from the back end, from the front end, from the business perspective, from the security perspective. Team goes in the next day and they share with each other. And the coolest part is, we just did this session, was one of my favorite sessions on the video. Every team member came in and they were convinced that they have the best answer. And one team member said, we cannot do this. If we build this in-house, we need 9 months and 200K. Because that's what she was researching. She was researching, what if we build this, right? Then another team member came in, but we don't need this. I found this phenomenal tool, and then we can use that. That came into, I need to spend more money on the tool. But then somebody else came in and started challenging on the security perspective. And by the end of that presentation, team found the best solution, basically, I wanted. And obviously, it's still MVP, POCs, and owners really need to spend time to give team that time. I think that's always also critical. But in the end of the day, there is no life hack, really, because, like, let's say an example. Last week, I was testing all of the tools that are on the market for email automation. Horrible, horrible. And I was like, how? How, like, when images advance so much, video advance so much, avatars advance so much, emails are so bad. So it's like you never know what you'll find, but you kind of have to be ready to waste that time to go search. My best suggestion, I know that we're out of time, I'm wrapping up. My best suggestion is I love time blocking. Who knows time blocking? So do not test 10 different tools on the same day for different things. It's going to confuse you, overwhelm you, and then you're not going to get the pattern. I always dedicate specific block of time to a specific topic, and then not only you're able to understand it better, but you also see patterns. If you see patterns, you accelerate faster. So that's kind of my key life hacks right now, and you can test them out, and if you find another one, I'll be happy to hear. Pleasure.
Thank you very much.